let's get our big opinions on the Arizona Cardinals franchise quarterback. It's obviously a make or break season. For most Cardinals fans would think so. However, what does that look like? I took a clip from the Monday Morning Quarterback with Albert Breer and Connor Orr, and they kind of described what it looks like for the Cardinals right now. Take a listen.
My fear for Arizona is that you just sleepwalk your way through 9 or 10 years with this guy, and you're better or worse off for it.
The other question is, what sort of opportunity do you have to replace him? Which is, and if you made the roster too good to replace him with a high draft pick, I don't know. I think that part of it's interesting.
That part of it's interesting too. But I think that you need to come out of this year knowing that Kyler is your guy, and I don't want to hear
knowing that he's not.
So the Cardinals need to come out with this season knowing if Kyler Murray is their guy or not. That is the question. Instead of just asking if it's a make or break season for Kyler, what does that season look like? What does a make it season look like for Kyler? I'll start with you, Alex.
The last 2 months. That's been the biggest hole in his, development as a quarterback, regardless of who the head coach has been and their ineptitude or lack thereof. The new regime obviously has a much more direct journey towards relevancy than the last. When it comes down to it in 2025, does he win more games for the Cardinals than he loses for them? And that comes down to his floor, not his ceiling, because we know what his ceiling is. We've seen it. Very few quarterbacks in the NFL can reach the ceiling that Kyler Murray has. But this offense looks like the bottom 3 offense, way too much since Kyler took over in 2019. So for me, good enough. What the make it year is 10 plus wins, his ceiling rises, and he is the reason why they win much more than the reason why he loses, especially during the last 8 weeks of the year.
Jamil?
Yeah, I agree with Alex as far as when it comes to the wins. I think we want to see them get 10 wins. And for me, what I would look for out of my quarterback is, can you manage the game? Don't lose the game for me. Can you manage the game to where, we can make a play at the end of the game and come out with a win? And if you've done that and we don't come out with the win, I can live with that. I don't know that I want to call it a make or break. I do think that you want to have the assurance, though, that you can lean on this guy in the future. I think that's where a lot of the teams in the NFL are. We don't see too many guys get drafted and make an impact right away. So do you want to start with that rebuild, or do you know that you have a guy that has this talent that you just want to see him manage these games and get you in position to get into the playoffs and win these close games?
Yeah, I would kind of agree with a little bit of both of what you guys said. Alex kind of mentioning 10 plus wins, and then you kind of teetering on the fact of like if it is actually a make or break season for Kyler. Because I do think in some senses, we're going to know if Kyler Murray is the guy that is going to help propel this team to the playoffs. Is he ever going to be Mahomes, Lamar? No, it's year 7. I think we would have already known that by now. I think mostly for me, it's playoff success. It's not enough for me to just get to the playoffs because, come on, guys. We look at this Cardinals schedule, and it is littered with no win isn't easy in the NFL, but look at the quarterbacks he's going up against. I couldn't even tell you who the quarterback's going to be for the Saints. It's really just a carousel of a bunch of different guys. Bryce Young, who outplayed Kyler last year. Brock Purdy, who, I'm not sold on him. Sam Darnold, who we'll see what he does outside of Minnesota, and Kevin O'Connell. Tennessee, Cam Ward, Anthony Richardson, and then Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love is his toughest quarterback up until week 7. And I bet if I went around the panel, not everyone would agree with Jordan Love being awesome. I think for me, ultimately, it's can you get to the playoffs and can you win a game? Can you be serviceable in that game? I don't think it's enough for Kyler Murray to just win that first playoff game. To get to the playoffs, but look bad doing it. I guess I would kind of ask the panel, do you guys agree with that? We saw Kyler make the playoffs before. I don't think the question is, can you get to the playoffs? I think some of it is also, what does it look like when you get there?
I think with what we saw with Jalen Hurts, not directly comparing the two, but at least correlatively speaking, that's the best roster outside of the quarterback we've seen in a while in the Super Bowl. 1-21, and then you add Jalen Hurts on top of it. What the Cardinals have is the best roster Kyler Murray has ever had in his life, from Pop Warner when he was playing linebacker to now. So for me, like Jamil alluded to this, your quarterback, and this isn't like go with me here. Like, your quarterback doesn't need to absolutely be your best player every down. Your quarterback needs to be, and this is, needs to be an elite game manager who gets it done on 3rd and 8 when you need him to. And I think a lot of times, like, Patrick Mahomes ruins it for everybody. Josh Allen ruins it for everybody. Lamar Jackson, that's not what normal quarterback play is. Those guys are so elite, and they're so still in the wake of Tom Brady that it's getting weakened. And when you look at what Kyler Murray's doing, when he's great, he's in that room with them. So you just need to find a way to get there. And I don't think it's as simple as you win a playoff game or not. I think one thing we do need to remove ourselves from is, 2021, the underhanded pick 6 in the playoffs. He was a child compared to where he is now, and there was no direction with his organization. So, yeah, winning a playoff game I think would get him there. But if they win 10 games and lose a playoff game by a field goal, I don't see how you don't run it back.
You have to. You have to in that situation. You have to. If you get to the playoffs with Kyler Murray this year and they lose in the first round, it's almost you're raising the ceiling in a sense. Okay, now we got something under our belt. Let's give it another go. And then I think we can call it a make or break. But I do think this year is super important for Kyler, man. I would love to see him have the success. I just feel like we need to be shown that he can be consistently that guy that everyone wants him to be.
I also appreciate you guys not telling them my microphone wasn't on the entire time, so that is awesome. The chemistry is going great here on this show. Got that fixed out now at this point. But, I guess I would ask now, is there any objection? Because you guys have kind of danced around it a little bit, and I didn't want to go here, but maybe we do need to. Is there any objection to this being like a make or break year for Kyler Murray? Because let me just start here. I don't want to ever go into breaking up with the quarterback and then getting back together with them. This is not an ex-girlfriend that I had years ago. Once I break up with them, like, that's the decision you need to make. Kyler's done. I got to be honest with you guys. After the second Seattle Seahawks game last year, where everyone wants to blame Drew Petzing, but especially in that first quarter, they cut it loose downfield. Kyler threw 2 atrocious interceptions. They still could have won that game, and they lost. And that showed me the clear limitations on Kyler. It doesn't tell me that he, for the future references, can't be the guy that takes him to the playoffs year in and year out. But it did tell me there were real limitations on him. And then it takes me to this season of, like, he's got to play consistent football. For the first time in his career, he needs to come out and be the same quarterback he was in week 1. And then, of course, smarter and more developed in week 17. But there can't be a steep drop-off. Is there any objection? We'll go with Jamil first, that this is kind of a make or break season for Kyler, especially with all the quarterbacks you've played with in your time.
I seriously don't think it's a make or break season. I think you want to see some life out of him, though. I think you want to see him develop as a quarterback, develop as a leader. Those mistakes are going to happen. Obviously, the 2 picks in the Seahawks game and the second game that they played him, you don't want to see those mistakes back to back. But I don't think that Kyler Murray is one of these quarterbacks that you can just write off. Like, he's not at the end of his – when it comes to the talent that he has and how versatile he is. I do think that if he were to be somewhere else, he's going to have success at some point in his career. So I don't want to call it a make or break season because I just don't feel like you can write the guy off like that. I think that he has a lot of things that go in his favor, but he does need to take that next step in terms of being a savvy vet and making those plays that get his team in position to win.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple caveats where I'd absolutely say, yes, it's a make or break here. One, if he misses more than 3 or 4 games, we're going to have that conversation. Is it worth, would you rather have Kyler Murray for 12 games or just would you rather have Tua for 17? Would you rather have a better player for less games or a weaker player for all the games? And I just threw Tua out there as an example. That's one for me. If he misses over half the season with an injury, that could be a hard pass. I don't think it's going to happen. I think his body's adapted at this point. He took that hit against whoever came off the edge against the Jets where his body fell out of his body and he got up and he smiled. He's like, let's roll. He's grown up in that regard. Look at what Steph Curry did in the NBA. He was a rolling ankle every game and he missed time and he missed time and he missed time. And then his body adapted to the next level of football. So that's one for me. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's one. The biggest one for me where it'd be a make or break is if the offense is the reason they're losing games. That's it. And you don't know what that is until you see it. We don't know what the offensive play calling was like last year. specifically predicated upon having a less than stellar talent level on defense? Were they running the ball more to eat clock, to be able to allow the defense to rest up? Were they doing that specifically to keep the defense off the field? We don't know. But what we do know is this year, we'll see if it's a make or break year on the field, weeks 1 through 17. It'll be a no doubt about it situation, in my opinion. Like, I don't think there's going to be a gray area. Like, if they go 9-8, I think you look at record. If he is a fringe MVP guy for the first 12 or 13 weeks and he has a terrible last end of the season, you have a different conversation about that. But he's a different cat, man, and you got to kind of gauge it differently. He's not just a pocket quarterback that you can look at just numbers. Right?
Jamil, were you going to say something before that? No, I would listen, I would agree with you. Kyler does so many things that you watch what he does on the field and you're like, there's at one play, I'll see the 2-point conversion against the the Las Vegas Raiders, where he'll run around for 30 seconds, shake off Max Crosby and score. And I'm like, or the throw against to Marvin Harrison Jr. going down the field against the 49ers on 4th and I think it was like 8th. The whole team knew you needed to pass, and you threw the ball Marvin Harrison Jr. on the road, got the first down. You ended up scoring there and winning the game. Like, I see those plays, and I say, do you move on from this guy? And then I watch the Seattle game, and it's different. But, Jamil, were you going to say something before we move on?
No, I wasn't going to say anything. That's the exact point I was going to make. It's the flashes that you get that kind of want you to hold on to what he can possibly be for you. It's the big plays that he makes, the toughness that he showed versus the Jets. Like, you get hit like that and you bounce up and you show that, you're ready. You talk a little smack. That's a good sign in my eyes. So I want to see that from my quarterback. I want to see him grow as a leader and kind of build around build the team around him.
Kyler Murray, make or break season, maybe a little bit of skepticism there, but overall, I think we can all agree there's got to be some semblance of a playoff season. And if the Cardinals don't make it, it can't be his fault that they didn't make it.